afternoon and welcome to Biztech's Asian Midday Market Watch, powered by Rajhi Bank, Malaysia. Today we welcome Jeffrey Halley, Senior Market Analyst, Asia Pacific at Oanda, as our guest. Good afternoon, Jeff.
Hey, good afternoon, Brian. Great to be here, mate.
Well, hope you had a good weekend, Jeff. But before we get your insights, let's first take a look at how crypto markets in the region are performing, and then we'll go on to regional stock markets. Now, Bitcoin is above the 30,000 mark. It's at 30,125.1. It's up 2.9%. Ethereum is at 2,028.91. It's up 3.11%. Now, looking across to regional stock markets, we start with the SGX, which is at 3,224.73. It's down 0.49%. Close to home for me on the KLSC, it's at 1,551.43. It's up 0.15%. Shanghai is at 3,131.8. It's down 0.47. The ASX All Ordinaries, it's at 7,391.5. It's up 0.01%. The Nikkei is at 26,898.5. It's up 0.06%. The Hang Seng is at 20,333.1. It's it's down 1.85%. And rounding up the numbers, we've got the Kospi, which is at 2,638.88. It's down 0.02%. Now, Jeff, very mixed markets today. Give us some insights into why that's happening.
Yeah, look, we've seen quite a strong rally in US futures this morning after quite a torrid session on Friday. We saw the Nasdaq and the S&P trading in 3% ranges, only to finish unchanged. I think the markets with a higher beta towards the moves in the Nasdaq, like Japan, have edged higher today, with Nasdaq futures rising by about 1%, and also Taiwan's slightly higher as well. But I believe that for the rest of Asia, they're just a little cautious about that price action. And they're also still can't get past worries about China's COVID zero policy. We've seen some more announcements. Another district in Shanghai got told to stay home and they closed the shops. And we saw some restrictions, some mass testing going to take place in parts of Beijing. So I think those COVID zero concerns in China are still holding back any sustained rally in Asian equities.
Now, Jeff, we had a change of government in Australia over the weekend. Markets haven't even moved at all. What are your thoughts on that, and how is that going to impact the Australian dollar?
Yeah, the Australian equities did rise early this morning, but they've given back all those gains and they're trading around unchanged at the moment. The Labor victory was actually priced in by financial markets in Australia. The Lib National Coalition had been a long way behind in the polls. And it really is now a matter of whether the Labor government gets enough votes after the postal votes are counted for them to have an outright majority in the lower house. I think if that happens, we could see Australian equities and the Aussie dollar taking another little tick higher. But really, it's been priced in, and the policy statements that have been made by the new Prime Minister sort of indicate a business as usual approach. There's no radical departures from the previous administration, particularly around China. So there wasn't a lot of reason for the markets to move today. The Aussie dollar is rising today as the US dollar falls. It's not really a move related to the election.
Now, Jeff, it's the start of the week. What are some key things that you've highlighted in your commentary today that we should be cognizant of?
Well, we've got European manufacturing and services PMIs tomorrow. Now, I think there's quite a lot of downside risk in those for obvious reasons, such as the Ukraine conflict. I think if we see weak numbers there, that could put a cap on this recovery rally we've seen in the euro versus the US dollar. Data-wise, it's pretty quiet for the US this week. It's all second-tier stuff, personal consumption and expenditure later in the week. That's more interesting down here in Asia. We have rate policy decisions from the Bank of Korea, Bank of Indonesia, and, of course, the Reserve Bank of New Zealand. Now, of those three, I think Bank of Indonesia is probably 50-50 on whether they hike another 0.25%. They're very much in supporting the economic recovery rather than tightening monetary policy. Bank of Korea, I think, will almost certainly hike by 0.25%, and we'll see a few more of those in the months ahead. And that may sort of give some strength to the Korean won. And we're expecting 0.5% from New Zealand. And I think anything less than 0.5% or a dovishly hawkish outlook in the statement, we'll see the New Zealand dollar get punished pretty aggressively.
Now, Jeff, on a different note, cryptocurrencies took a bloodbath the previous week. Stabilized at $30,000 or so for Bitcoin and just above the 2,000 mark for Ethereum. What's your view on the trading opportunities and the support levels? Are you still holding the view that you had previously?
Yeah, I'm still, I'm just looking at the price here because it moves so much that you need to sort of check before you actually say anything. Yeah, but look, it looks like it's consolidating in a bit of a triangle formation. But for me, really, it needs to regain the 33,000 mark in order to start saying, yep, we've seen the worst of the Bitcoin sell-off. I think the technical picture still points towards the soft side being the downside. We saw Christine Lagarde come out over the weekend and go, cryptos are worth nothing and they should be regulated. And I think regulation is the biggest single threat to the crypto space, particularly after we saw that meltdown in the Terra stable coins, or unstable coin as it turned out to be in the previous week. So yeah, there's still a lot of nervousness around, and I think if we see another sharp move lower by Bitcoin, that's going to spur more selling in these US dollar stable coins again. And that could be a self-perpetuating negative feedback loop. The question is if that margining spreads to selling in other more mainstream asset classes. So I think risks abound, and cryptos are not out of the woods by any means.
Well, Jeff, thank you very much for taking your time to come on the show.
A pleasure.
Now, we've been speaking to Jeffrey Halley, Senior Market Analyst, Asia Pacific at Oanda, on Biztech's Asian Midday Market Watch, powered by Rajhi Bank, Malaysia. I'm Brian Fernandez. This video will be on our social media platforms as well as our website, www.biztech.asia. It will also be on Rajhi Bank's social media platforms. Please like and subscribe to our various platforms. Thank you very much for tuning in.